This match will decide the United States heavyweight champion. Fans, introducing first of all, in the corner to my left, from the Soviet Union, 137 kilos, accompanied by Ivan Koloff, the Russian Nightmare, Nikita Koloff. His opponent from Virginia Beach, Virginia, 245 pounds, Magnum T.A.
Place to be, nation. Welcome back to NWA Crock Roll. Yes, you heard that right. I am your host, Shawn Kidd, and we are back, rebooted, refreshed, ready to go 9 months later. And no, I did not have a baby, and neither did either of my co-hosts. But we are back, and we have kind of restructured, rebooted a little bit, and we are going to pick up right where we left off at episode number 54, right after the Great American Bash. But I am not here alone. No, I do not have Dr. G. No, I do not have Colin McDougall, but I do have Scott Shiflett. Scott, how are you tonight?
Shawn, it feels good to be back. We were watching this stuff. It made me a little nostalgic. I know I joined about halfway through y'all's run, but we picked up right where we left off with these watches, and I can't wait to get to them tonight.
Yeah, me too. And it's kind of a little different. We're not going by every promo. We're not going every single episode of the syndicated shows, every single episode of the Saturday night show. What we're going to do is try to condense a couple months worth of shows into one episode to kind of get to the end game quicker. Tonight, what we're going to cover is basically August through September of '86. And really interesting watch here, and I'll get to that in a minute after I introduce our next co-host. But just for some context, Dr. G and Colin are not here. Schedules are still schedules and things like that, so it makes it really hard for all of us to get together. Scott is a consistent, so Scott, I do thank you for being the one that regularly can join me. Dr. G and Colin, I'm sure, will join us at some point during the future of this show as we go on, but we will have rotating guests as we move forward, and our first rotating guest tonight was actually kind of the semi-regular towards the end and actually did the Great American Bash watch with us. Logan Crossland, how are you tonight?
Yeah, after that pod, I kind of wanted to jump off the bus, but I got back on, and I'm happy to be here. So looking forward to talking about the matches we have tonight.
Yeah, I think we have a pretty good set of matches to watch tonight. And for those of you that don't know, during the absence of NWA Crock Roll, we did convert over to the North-South Connection and went back and watched some other WCW on the 7 Months of Danger, where we covered the Dangerous Alliance era of WCW. And as we record this tonight, we are 1 week away of recording the finale from that. So kind of refreshing to get back to this as we close out that chapter. And Logan, I do thank you for joining us tonight. And Logan will be a regular featured person on this, but again, he'll be more of a rotated guest. Schiff will be a regular here on the show, and we will be joined by others. And again, hopefully Dr. G and Colin will be able to join us here on occasion as well. So with that, let's talk
basically
about
what Shawn is saying is me and Shawn are Arn and Rick. You guys can figure out which one is which. Logan, Dr. G, and Callum are, the Barry Windhams, the Tully Blanchards, the Lex Lugers, the Stings. They're the rotating members. I'm not going to call one of them the Paul Roma, but I will.
I was about to call myself that, so.
The Steve McMichaels, the Stids. Oh, God, I hope none of you are the Benoits.
Oh, God.
All right. Anyway, so let's talk about where we left off. So we left off in September of 2022, gents, and we left off at the end of the Great American Bash. And what's interesting about the Bash, and I think as we ended that, literally Dusty Rhodes had won the World Heavyweight title. We were still in the middle of the Best of 7 series, but if I recall, Scott, no other titles changed hands during the entire American Bash, with the exception of the world title, and that was at the very end, correct?
Yeah, and I don't know. I know we had the best of 7 series for the U.S. title going on, but Crockett at this time has AEW levels of amount of titles, so they could have swapped another one.
They could, and what's interesting is the majority of the titles they swap happen in our watch tonight. So are you guys ready to jump right into it?
Yes.
Let's do it.
All right, so we're going to go right into August. So we're coming out of July, we're coming out of the Bash. The best of 7 is still going on. Dusty Rhodes is your world heavyweight champion. Everybody else is still the champion. And you know what? I didn't put together the champion roll call in this, but we will go through that in detail tonight because really we're covering pretty much every single title in this podcast tonight. So first off, we'll start with, there's going to be a few things I mentioned. Then there'll be some things we watched, and we'll go into detail on the things we watched. So the first thing I'm going to mention, on August the 2nd, Mr. Electricity. Is it? Oh, well, Logan, very big day, and I know this was 40 years or 50 years before you were born. Mr. Electricity, Steven Regal, defeated Denny Brown for the NWA Junior Heavyweight title.
Do you think he was still wearing that sweet pink polo that he was wearing when he cut that promo?
I don't know,
like a mechanic?
He might, but I think at this point, Denny Brown still had that Burger King crown title that had the big, huge crown on the front of it, if you recall that one, Schiff.
Yes.
Yeah, so we have a new junior heavyweight champion in Steven Regal. On July the 9th, guess what? Ric Flair regained the world heavyweight title from Dusty Rhodes. And 2 days prior to that in Kansas City, Tully Blanchard had attacked Dusty's leg, and that set up Flair's win. So we don't have any video of that, so therefore we didn't watch it, but we do have a pretty interesting rematch that they have during the month of August tonight to talk about. But Logan, any thoughts on Dusty Rhodes winning the title back in July? I think it was July 23rd, and then losing it literally 3 weeks later.
It sounds about like Crockett booking, so that makes total sense and doesn't sound shocking at all. That is why Mr. Flair was a 16-time champion, because he had the habit of winning the title and losing it somewhat quickly, but held it for a good bit, and then he would win it right back is what I'm trying to say. So, yeah, not shocking.
And actually, with him losing it in New Zealand, in Japan a couple of times, they think he's 19 or 23-time champion, but that's just recognized title reigns.
Yeah.
That is correct. And by the way, this would also be Dusty Rhodes' last title reign as a world champion. So he's 3-time champion. That would be his last one, and it only lasted 3 weeks. So, spoiler alert on the match we'll watch here later. Dusty doesn't become champion again, but there is an interesting development. We'll get to that later. So, right out of the gate, first 9 days of August, we have 2 new champions, new junior heavyweight champion. Ric Flair is world champion once again. So, we're going to jump forward to 2 matches that took place on August the 16th. Our first one takes place on Worldwide Wrestling in syndication. It is match number 6 in the best of 7 between Magnum and Nikita. So this continued on through the month of August. It did not complete during the Bash. Nikita is up 3-2, so this is kind of do or die time for Magnum, because if he doesn't win, he's in big trouble. So really big fight feel here. Tommy holds up the belt. How do you feel about Tommy Young here, Schiff?
Fuck him.
Okay. We'll probably hear a lot of that tonight. So Tommy Young holds up the belt. And Tony, of course, is doing the ring announcements. Nikita is out with Crusher Khrushchev. It is reiterated that if TA loses, we will have a new champion tonight, Nikita Koloff. It's another hot crowd as always. The match starts with some intense tie-ups. There's a crisscross into a TA dropkick and when he ducked a sickle, and he sends Nikita outside. TA works the arm with a hammerlock and knees. I also like that he tries to turn the hammerlock into a pin, so that was pretty cool. TA does an Austin Indian deathlock to an arm while he has him in a hammerlock. Really, I thought that was kind of cool because you don't typically see Indian deathlocks in an arm hold, which I thought was pretty neat. They end up outside, and TA keeps on the hammerlock and throws Nikita into the post. We come back from commercial, and Nikita's in control, but TA charges the corner, and Nikita rams his arm into the turnbuckle, and then Nikita comes back with a Cobra Clutch. TA fights out, a boot to Nikita's face. Nikita keeps coming back and drops knees on TA's back, and then sends TA outside. He drops TA throat first on the top turnbuckle on the top rope. Then he gets a rear chin lock. TA skates, but then there's a sickle by Nikita, a back suplex. But then later, TA gets a boot to the face off a throw to the rope. Nikita again cuts him down into the corner. It's like what I love about this. It's really a great story of Nikita being unrelenting and TA just not giving up. TA eventually turns a face lock into a suplex and starts firing away at Nikita, and he does a drop kick for 2. But Crusher puts his foot on the rope. David Crockett in the crowd at this point have absolutely lost it. TA goes out after Crusher Khrushchev. Nikita gets a knee to Magnum's back and also sends Young to the outside at the same time. There's a sickle by Nikita and a cover, but there's no ref, and the foot's under the rope. Jackie Fargo comes out and counts 3 and gives Nikita the belt, but Tommy Young finally mans up as a ref and calls bullshit. He pulls the belt. And then there's a belly to belly by TA, and then he gets the 3 count finally, ties the best of 7 to an absolute crazy reaction. This was crazy. TA's reaction also is fantastic. Schiff, you've been along the ride with me on this whole TA Nikita thing. I think we watched like 20 matches between the two, and this was finally the match I was waiting for them. This is a really great story of TA and adversity. Again, Nikita not backing down and all the marbles on the line. Hot crowd, great commentary. And finally, we get Nikita TA match I desperately wanted. 16 minutes of just pure great. I went 3.75 on this. How'd you feel?
The nostalgia was kicking in, Shawn, and the crowd wasn't just hot; it was molten. Like,
yes,
it was, and like hearing the crowd so hyped gets me like more excited to watch a match. And I just loved all this. Like you said, like I loved like the limb work that was happening. And Nikita was just like. Magnum was just not staying down. It was just awesome. Like, you know, when when Magnum hit the belly to belly, like the pop was just massive. Like, oh my God. And like, it just happened so quick, like after the schmoz with, you know, Nikita hitting the Russian sickle, but you know, Magnum had his leg under the ropes. Like, I was just like, oh my God, is it really going to end like this? And then you see it like it's the perfect story being told, being down 3-0, then tying it back up 3-3. I went 4 1/4, but like and I even messaged you guys in our chat talking about this. And I know I've said this on previous pods, but I'm just going to reiterate it because it's not much we're going to actually have with Magnum. It breaks my heart because this is probably the apex of his career, but it shouldn't have been. The apex should have come 4 months later when he would have won the title from Flair at Starrcade. But, you know, he was like a supernova and he just burned out sadly. And it was no one's fault. He just he fell asleep. It was the car accident. So like it just breaks my heart, man. Like It's just sad. Like, yeah, and unfortunately, on our next episode, we'll actually cover that whole thing with Magnum because the next episode is when we'll talk about it as an accident. But at least on this one, we actually get 2 matches tonight of these two, and this one just started off red hot right out of the gate. So you went 4 1/4, I went 3.75. Logan, what did you go?
I'm going to go right in the middle. I thought it was great as well. Nikita took every kind of steroid before this match. He was absolutely geeked to the gills. Lots of lockups and good back and forth struggle early for the crowd. They were on fire. It was interesting to see a Kimura armbar back at this point by Magnum, but it's good to see the Russian Nightmare doesn't pass out like a bitch like the American Nightmare does. So good to see that. A lot of grind him down holds, not just a ton of moves per se, but it was just amazing. And the fact that this is the 6th match of the series, it kind of makes sense that they're just trying to wear each other down and just really grind each other down to the point where they can hit that one last shot and get the final pinfall. But the last few minutes are absolutely unbelievable. Crowd and action. I thought the sickle was sick that he hit. I thought the ref spot was a little unnecessary, but it made the belly and the pin even more awesome because the crowd just like Schiff said, just was molten. So just awesome stuff. So I went right in the middle of you guys.
All right, perfect. So yeah, really, really great match to kick us back off here on the reboot. This is match number 6, and we'll talk about match number 7 here in a minute. But really, if you've never seen this one in the best of 7, go out of your way to see this one. This one's really, really great. All right, our next match also. This one's actually from a house show, and it is from August 16th, 1986, and it is from Philadelphia. And it is a 2 out of 3 falls match for the World Tag Team titles. It is the Midnight Express versus the Rock and Roll Express. And if you remember from the Great American Bash, the Rock and Roll Express was actually had a lot. We're feuding with the Horsemen of Ole and Arn Anderson, and the Midnight Express was primarily feuding with Baby Doll, Magnum, and Dusty. So interesting rematch here for the World Tag Team titles at the Midnight Express. Won from the Rock and Rolls all the way back in February, and it's 2 out of 3 falls. So first fall, Morton had 3 atomic drops in a row on Dennis. That Dennis sold like fire. There was long heat on Morton, a great tag work by the Midnight Express. Bobby hits the divorce court on Morton. The DDT to the arm move, which, maybe the first time I'd ever seen him use it, and he uses that a lot, but they call that move the divorce court, and I love that DDT on the arm. I think it's great. I thought it just looked savage. There was finally a hot tag. Robert hits a lightning quick small package on Eaton for a 3 count. I really like this because the whole entire first spot, typically with the Rock and Roll Express and Midnight Express, they start off super, super fast. I thought it was a little bit more methodical and slower pace for a Rock and Roll match. So fall number 1 goes to the Rock and Roll Express. 2, Robert went for the same small package, but Eaton breaks it up and pulls the rope down to send Robert over the top to the floor, which allowed Condrey to work his back with 2 backbreakers. And actually, I thought the second fall was a pretty late 3 count for the Midnights, working over Robert's back. So the Midnight Express win fall number 2. Fall number 3, the Midnight Express double team and beat up Robert. They hit a rocket launcher to the back, then a bear hug spot as they work the back continuously. Bobby then hits an awesome elbow to the back for its 2 because the foot's on the ropes. Robert finally hits a neat lift to Dennis for the hot tag. Morton gets a suplex to Condrey. Awesome top rope drop kick. Bobby comes in, but Robert blocks, distracted the ref to push Robert out. But anyway, so the ref is distracted. They push Robert out of the ring. Bobby goes up top and clobbers Ricky, who is pinning Condrey. Bobby covers, but is it legal as Robert stops the ref's pin? Dennis hits a sick running knee to Orton. A sick running knee to... God damn it. I fucking fucked my notes up, guys. So anyway, Dennis hits a running knee. I know. And then the Midnight Express double team Robert. Dennis goes back to Ricky, who has climbed the apron. He goes to body slam him, but Ricky reverses it into a small package for 3, and we have new tag team champions. The crowd again goes nuts. Cornette throws a fit. I thought this is a really fun match. Again, a little slower than some might expect, but I like the pace and the tag work by all. I didn't like the second fall too much, but I thought the first fall and the third fall were pretty great. I went 3.25 all in. Logan, what did you go on this? And I apologize for fucking my notes up.
No, you're good. It happens to the best of us. I went 3 on it. Like you said, it starts a lot slower than I would have expected, considering the Rock and Roll Express was in it. But I think it only lasts kind of as long as the Midnight Express were in control in that first fall, which wasn't super long, so the Rock and Rolls kind of come in and speed it up. There was one point where I think Eaton was about to get back body dropped, and he just elbowed whoever was back body dropping him in the back of the head. I've never seen that, but I really liked that reversal of that. Everything after the hot tag to the end of the first fall was great. Nonstop action and a solid surprise roll up to take it. I kind of with you. Good action to start the second fall, but it was kind of a weak finish, and there wasn't. It kind of slowed down a little bit more than I would have liked to at that point. They really wear down Gibson for a good bit. There was a pretty devastating running power slam followed by a slingshot splash that I thought was really cool. Good flying elbow by Bobby Eaton at one point. Morton finally gets the tag and comes in a house of fire. There are a couple of ref fuck-ups in this one, but Gibson luckily saves us from a possible other one, and then Morton gets the roll-up for the win. So, yeah, like I said, I went 3. Not the best match that I think these two teams have ever had, but a solid one nonetheless.
Yeah, it was kind of house showish in a lot of ways, and again, like really slower pace, but again, pretty good title change, a little bit of change of pace between the two teams, but not a terrible match at all. Schiff, what'd you think?
Surprisingly, I liked the start of the match, how it was a little slower because I feel they were pacing themselves because it was best 2 out of 3. Mm-hmm. So I enjoyed like that. It felt like it was like more psychological that they were doing. I liked how they were working over Condrey's arm in the very beginning, and like actually Condrey selling the atomic drop was great. And I was shocked at how much like Rock and Roll Express was in charge for fall 1. Like they swapped the psychology of the wrestling. It's usually like the heels get fall 1, and then like they have to battle, like and then the baby has to battle back. So I like that. So like I like Robert getting the inside cradle to take fall 1 as someone who has had to watch a lot of 2 out of 3 falls matches for as we mentioned 7 months of danger.
I guess the timing is kind of shit. Yeah, talk about timing, I guess.
Yeah. So, and I did like after Fall 1 that then, like, after that, Robert Gibson did not get any offense until, like, the last couple of minutes of Fall 3. Like, they were just working him over, like, with multiple backbreakers. Like, I even have, like, good shit is happening. That is my note. And, like, they were just dominating him. It was, like, what you love about a heel Southern tag team. Like, you know, that doesn't always, like, beg off. They can actually, like, fight in the ring, too. I loved when Ricky ran in after when it was tied 1-1 and like tried to help, but it's shown back and like the heels just like took advantage. That's something that Crockett and WCW tag team wrestling is known for. But yeah, it's like he got no offense at all for like the first like 3 or 4 minutes until he got the hot tag, and then it was all Ricky. And I love the missile drop kick that you mentioned, Shawn. That was a beautiful missile drop kick. And I love how then Midnight Express cheated and Robert like saved it. It was awesome. And I wasn't expecting a title change here. So when Ricky got out and he reversed the slam for 3, I was shocked. I went 4 stars on this. Like wow. Like I said, I don't know if it was nostalgia for being gone for so long, but I was just like, holy crap, like this is great. Like I was like, let's do it. And yeah, it was awesome.
He's really excited.
Well, no.
Shawn.
Yeah. Well, I think he's really excited to get away from 23 episodes of watching the Dangerous Alliance and getting back to some old school wrestling. Probably that'd be my guess. But no, I mean, again, it's a really good match, and it's interesting to hear both your perspectives. It seems like Logan and I are more aligned around kind of like how we feel about it versus Schiff. You seem really excited about it. So, but still, all in, we're still saying these are both these matches we talked about tonight have been really, really great. So, all right. So now, if you think about it, so we came out of the Bash, we had 1 title change. So now, literally in the first couple weeks of August, we've already had 3.
Yeah, it feels like a weird reset is going on, and it makes you wonder why didn't they just do it at the Bash? Because then for future Bashes, they could be like, "This is what happened last year."
Yeah, it's like, hey, you know, I spent like if I'm a fan and I spent like imagine if you're, you know, you have those diehards that follow the WWE all over the world or whatever. Imagine if I'm like that guy who wanted follow the Bash on the world tour during the Bash months, and then not one title changed hands, and then I find out all these titles changed hands in August and September. I'm gonna be like, well, fuck that Bash. I ain't going next year, right? It's kind of like, what's the big deal? Like, no title change hands. So
they roped everybody in. That's what good territory. I think in there.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess it was like sold off of War Game. It was sold off of War Games, so. But still, like,
well, we didn't have War Games in '86. That was '87.
Oh, you're right. Never mind. Sorry.
Which we'll cover on this show eventually. But yeah, there's no War Games this year. This is just flat out. I mean, you got country singing and wrestling. That's it.
I think they knew people would show up to the Great American Bash tour, so they were like, maybe to get more people to come after this, they would do a couple title changes. But then they have them roped in again and don't do another one for a while or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah, and what's also interesting, okay, so our next match. So the last match we talked about with Nikita was on Worldwide. That was match 6. So this one is also on TV. So they give away the last 2 matches for free on TV, yet they didn't do anything. They didn't finish the best of 7 on the Bash Tour, but now I can sit at home and I can watch it. So here we are, guys. August 23rd. It is the final match of the best of 7 between Magnum TA and Nikita Koloff. So this is it. This is the final one. So we started off with there's a sickle duck by TA, a body press. Nikita kicks out, and TA drop kicks him in the back and sends him over the top rope. David actually he sends it into a fit, thinking Magnum would be DQ'd and he would lose the best of 7 on a DQ. I thought that was pretty funny.
It should have, but Tommy Young sucks as a ref.
Well, he goes, Tony says Young said it wasn't intentional and it was only momentum. He justified it in commentary shift. I don't know if you caught that or not.
No, I did. That they always do that for the baby faces, never the heels. Sorry.
Well, I also thought that was really cool by Tony and David to kind of sell that, by the way, to kind of save that from being a DQ. I kind of like that, actually. David really gets into TA working in Nikita's arms. Like, he's really into that whole, like, I don't know if he's having an orgasm or not, but he's like really into the arms and back yelling, going deeper and deeper. Like, he's really like having a fit. It's fantastic. He also gets pissed at Tommy Young paying attention to Ivan outside versus the match, which is typical Tommy. TA maintains a hammerlock on Nikita. The alligator rolls him outside, which I thought was pretty badass. TA holds onto the hammerlock and he throws Nikita's shoulder into the post. There's a top rope axe handle for 2, then another crisscross, a leapfrog, and TA with an arm drag and keeps working the arm. TA misses a crossbody and falls to the outside. Nikita rams his back into the apron. Then Nikita works it back for a while, ramming it multiple times into the corner. Nikita actually does a one-arm slam and an elbow, and then there's a bear hug. I really like TA actually slips his hand through and hip tosses Nikita and comes back with an awesome punch as a drop kick. He covers by the rope, and Ivan pulls him out of the ring by his hair. But TA does a pile driver on the concrete. And then TA's back in and starts wailing on Nikita. Crusher Khrushchev out on the apron and distracts Tommy Young. TA gets a belly-to-belly to cover. TA goes after Crusher Khrushchev, but Nikita bounces second rope with the chain and sickles him with the chain for 3 once TA turns around. David Crockett protests and is fucking livid. But however, Koloff is the U.S. champion, and this brings the series and the build that we've been talking about since January of '86 to a close. Again, great energy. With the chain being done, Tommy Young is an idiot. TA is an incredible fired up baby face with just no quit. And his evolution on this pod for me has been a story to watch unfold. And Schiff, you brought it up. What happens to him is a tragedy because this best of 7 series, even though he lost it, has sent him freaking with the rocket strap just through to the moon. So not as good to me as the match we watched earlier tonight, but still a really good match. I actually went 3 1/4 on this. So Schiff, I'll go to you. What did you think of this?
I love the arm work. I wasn't as orgasmic as Crockett.
He was out of control. Deeper. I was like, what the fuck?
But I liked it because it takes away the sickle, so he can't use it. So I thought that was pretty smart. And I love Magnum missing the crossbody block and went on the floor. And then Nikita started working Magnum's back right there. And then Nikita actually dropped Magnum throat first onto the rope, which I loved. And Nikita was just working the back. Magnum was selling like it was like the end. And Nikita, even when he had the bear hug, Magnum was dead weight. And then Magnum got a hold spot with the sunset flip. And, Nikita working the back. I thought Magnum was going to win. So I was blown away when he got when Nikita hit the super sickle with the chain. I went 4 stars on this. Like I said, I'm a little shocked I seem to be above y'all on this watch so far, but yeah, I went 4 stars. I loved it. A hell of the last 2 matches. Yeah,
don't be shocked. I mean, again, a hell of a 2. I will tell you, when I watched this when I was 13 and Magnum lost this, I literally lost my shit watching it on the TV. I was fucking furious. So Crockett did his job here. Logan, what'd you think of this?
Yeah, I wasn't as impressed with this one as you, as well as, or the same as you, Shawn. I went 3.5. I still really liked it. I just don't think it was quite as good as the first one. A lot of lockups and wear down holds to start off, kind of like the last match. Magnum really goes for the arm, like Shiv said, to kind of take the sickle away from things. He gets a little too overzealous at one point, goes for a dive and misses that, which kind of leads to Nikita starting to work the back. So that was a good. He did good taking on that after he missed the dive. There was a disgusting pile driver on the floor. And then Khrushchev proves to kind of be the difference, and he provides enough of a distraction so that Nikita can use the chain and take the belt. So, yeah, I didn't like this one quite as much, but I did enjoy it as at the same time.
Yeah, so again, I mean, back-to-back, 3 really, really great matches. Schiff, I'm impressed. I mean, I'm not giving you shit for liking these matches. I'm glad you love them, especially for the being in 1986. I'm impressed.
Yeah, I was just blown away. And spoiler alert, I loved all the matches tonight. So it wasn't. I mean, we got some down ones towards the end, but first 4 or 5 were chef's kiss.
Well, the down ones at the end, I think, are expected based on who's involved. But we'll get to that. We get to the end for sure. Because that person has no business winning a certain title that he wins at that point at this stage in the game. But we'll talk about that. So again, here we are, August 23rd, less than a month out of the bash. Again, another new champion, but someone's going to have a champion coming out of it. I just didn't expect it to be Nikita at the time, but here we are, new U.S. champion Nikita Koloff. And he would hold this title for a long, long time. So we will study that journey of Nikita, U.S. champion, as we go through the history of this pod as we go on. All right. So also on August 23rd, also the same night, actually. So prior to this, okay, so anyway, this is an angle that we're going to talk about. We already know that Dusty Rhodes has lost the World Heavyweight title back to Ric Flair. Well, the same night that Nikita won the U.S. title from Nikita won the U.S. title from Magnum, there is a televised World Heavyweight title rematch between Ric Flair and Dusty Rhodes. And, I mean, it doesn't get much bigger than that. I mean, again, this on TV, it's like, holy shit. Like, imagine back at the time seeing Hulk Hogan defend his title on WWF TV. On Saturday night's main event, yeah, but you would never have seen it on, like, a syndicated Superstars or Challenge or anything like that. So this is a big deal. So, huge TV main event rematch. Dusty starts out by strutting around with his hand on his package and posing and taunting Flair in the corner. Really great fire from Rhodes on a press slam and multiple elbows to Flair. The crowd, again, still hot. Flair has to collect himself ringside as they keep closing in on the intensity of Baby Doll's face. So they really keep putting it on Baby Doll, which makes sense as this plays out. Dream just stays lit with shoulder tackles and a hip toss, which continues to infuriate Flair. Dusty bails outside when Flair kicks his injured knee. Dusty back in with more energy, with more elbows and a rubbing crotch elbow to Flair, which I thought was funny. And again, no matter what Flair does, Dusty catches him at every turn, and there's such energy in this match between the two in the crowd. It's just really good symmetry between the two. Flair finally gets a sleeper, but Dusty sends her to the turnbuckle. But Flair, who never learns, goes up top and gets tossed down. Dusty with a figure four as we go into commercial. When we come back, Flair still starts working Dusty's knee. Dusty kicks him off and punches him over the top rope. But Flair pulls him outside. Dusty throws him into the post. Dusty starts biting and punches the head back in the ring. He does the up and over the corner spot, suplex back into the ring for two, a clothesline. Flair is now bleeding. Dusty covers and the ref counts, but Baby Doll puts Ric Flair's foot on the ropes. And the crowd and announcers, again, here we go again, fucking livid. Dusty is confused. Flair back into working the leg, and there's a figure four, but Dusty reverses, and he's yelling at Baby Doll at the same time. Tommy Young, of course, gets knocked outside as Dusty knocks Flair into him. There's a clothesline to Flair, but no cover. No ref repeatedly. The Baby Doll comes in with a chair, goes to the ring. She goes to hit Dusty, but he moves and grabs the chair. And then he attacks Flair's leg, and the ref calls the DQ. The Blanchard comes in and attacks. He gets pelted with soda, but he grabs the chair and attacks Dusty. And finally, Rock and Roll Express and TA come in for the save. As the heels bail with a Baby Doll, and she smiles at the camera. So this match was straight fire. Dusty was fucking lit, but the turn is so out of nowhere. And believe done basically to distance himself from Baby Doll because of what happens with her marrying Sam Houston. I like, again, the title change. Why not just do that here? Why did they have to do it earlier? They could have just done it here with the Baby Doll turn. I just think it's odd booking, especially coming again right out of the bash, and her whole Cornette angle. This just seems so out of nowhere. Nonetheless, the match itself, the ending aside, was great, fired up, energized entertainment. And for me, this is a really great Dusty showcase on free TV. So I 3.5 on this. And again, this was more about Baby Doll turn, but the match itself was fantastic. And by the way, Baby Doll is not here much longer because she actually ends up going to Central States with Sam Houston because, Dusty doesn't want her anywhere around Crockett anymore. So, Logan, I will go to you. What did you think of this match? And the heel turn by Baby Doll that came out of nowhere.
You're supposed to be a one-man woman, baby, and you're supposed to be my woman. I'm just playing. I went 3.25. I was a little lower on it than you, but I still enjoyed it at the same time. Dusty really dominated this one almost throughout. Really beat Flair pillar to post with big elbows and punches. I did think at one point that Flair kicks Dusty in the knee, and that is the first offense he gets in the whole match. And Dusty, being the bitch that he is, rolls out immediately after that. Easy to see where his son gets the family bitchiness at. So there's that.
How dare you?
I'm talking about Cody, not Dustin.
Still, how dare you?
I love Logan shitting on Cody Rhodes.
I watched this right after he passed out in the Kimura hold to Lesnar, so that's where most of this is coming from. Flair even jobs to the ref in this one. He gets pushed down at one point pretty violently. We come back from commercial, and after Dusty has dominated the whole match, Flair is somehow on offense. I do think this match was less about the match and more about the turn. Obviously, I think it was more of an angle, but Dusty dominated at least 90% of this match, which was entertaining, and the crowd was totally hot for. But definitely not how I saw this match go, and I figured it'd be a little more back and forth.
Yep. So, but again, for free TV, holy shit, you got Nikita versus TA and Dusty versus Flair in the same freaking weekend. That's nuts.
That's
shit. Yeah, it's crazy. Schiff, what'd you think?
So sorry,
It sounded like you called him shit there for a second.
No, I said Schiff. I did say Schiff. I promise.
brain went out. Logan, what did you go?
I went 3 1/4.
And I went 3.5.
All right. Well, I'm going 3 3/4. Like I said, I was in a great mood. I wasn't a sourpuss like Logan, obviously.
Now wait a minute, 3 1/4 is not.
I just didn't think it was more about. I didn't think it was much about the match. I thought it was more. The turn. It was good action.
Yeah, I was just loving. I was just loving it. I loved how it was Dusty in control. Like Flair was just begging off, and like you said, Logan, he didn't do it until he started working over Dusty's knee, and Dusty went outside and he came back and hit another elbow. And Flair just stalled a lot when he was not on offense. So like he would just duck out of the ring. You know, Dusty hit the 10 count in the corner, then like Flair with the rake to the eyes. Dusty knocked Flair over the top rope, and no DQ was called because they said it was Flair's momentum. I love how it just happens when
That's so stupid. I hate that so much.
Me too. Don't worry, WCW doesn't get rid of it until 1997. Dusty has the figure 4 on Flair. I always like watching their matches with each other. I always forget that Dusty uses the figure 4 as well. And then Dusty bites Flair's head and like hammers and was hammering his head. So like, you know, that's how we get the color. And like I loved when Flair was working Dusty's knee to get ready for the figure 4. But like when Dusty tried to reverse it, but Baby Doll actually helps Flair, and then Dusty reverses it, and then he asks Baby Doll why, and then like the chop block Dusty, and Dusty kicks Flair into Young. You know, Dusty has to get his visual pin. Baby Doll gets the chair and misses a chair shot. Like how bad of a person is she trying to cheat? Like everything she does goes wrong. And then Dusty uses the chair on Flair. Tommy Young rings bell, and I love like how we transitioned Dusty from Flair to Tully. And Tully runs in and starts beating Dusty with a chair. And then Magnum runs in because that's where the feud was going, was Magnum and Flair, sadly. But we see Baby Doll is now with the Horsemen.
Yeah, Baby Doll is with the Horsemen, and that's very short-lived. Like I said, she will be joining her husband in Central States Wrestling very, very shortly. So I don't know how much we'll talk about Baby Doll much more on this pod at this point. She will return in 88, though. But you know who she comes back and manages in 1988, gentlemen?
It's the Barbarian, right?
One Larry Zbyszko.
Oh God, I wish it would have been the Barbarian.
It is Larry Zbyszko. She's managing the Warlord right now as we speak in '86.
That's what it was.
She does make an appearance in November for a short period of time, managing the Midnight Express, believe it or not. But it's only a one-off appearance when Jim Cornette's recuperating from his broken leg after falling off the scaffold. But then we don't see her again until she comes back and managing Zbyszko. So you will see her.
That was a Mad Lib you just said.
Yeah, you like that? You like that? That was a word salad. Word salad. So you will see her again eventually, but it might be a little while. So again, Baby Doll has turned U.S. champion, new junior heavyweight champion, new world tag team champions, and we're going to continue on this journey. So we did not watch these, but here's the next thing I'll mention. So on August 28, 1986, podcast favorite, Colin McDougal's favorite wrestler, Wahoo McDaniel, beats Tully Blanchard for the national heavyweight title in L.A. Big Crockett territory there in L.A. I mean, come on, really? And then on September 1st, Denny Brown wins the junior heavyweight title back for Mr. Electricity Steve Regal, and Steve Regal goes bye-bye. You never see him ever again. And then on September 2nd, Ronnie the Hands of Stones Garvin beats Black Bart for the Mid-Atlantic title. So how many title changes was that in the span of 1, 2,
That's what I think.
You think that's all? Yeah. So again, none of those title changes really mean a whole lot, but Shift, to your point, this will transition Tully over to Dusty, and that'll all make sense as we talk about Dusty's match in September when we get to that. So a lot of title changes here in a short amount of time coming out of the Great American Bash. All right, so now we're going to go into September 1st of 1986, and we are going to our third Battle of the Belts. Now, we have covered the first two Battle of the Belts on this podcast. We are going to cover Battle of the Belts 3, and this is from Daytona Beach, Florida. 8,000 fans. This did air locally. Now, we're only going to talk about two specific matches in detail because they actually have the Road Warriors in it, and it's Lex Luger versus Ric Flair in another 2 out of 3 falls match tonight. And by the way, guys, I want to mention one more thing. Magnum and Nikita actually have one more rematch in September on TV, which is also a 2 out of 3 falls match. So a lot of 2 out of 3 falls matches going on here. I did not put that on our watch tonight because obviously Magnum didn't win it. But if you ever want to check that out, that is from September. You can find that match on YouTube if anyone ever wants to check that out. So I will go over the other matches that were on this show. Logan and Schiff, feel free to comment, even though I don't believe any of you watch the other matches, just the 2 that we talk about, right?
Correct.
I didn't even want to watch one of the matches that you made me watch.
All right, well, I did because traditionally the Road Warriors have really good matches on these Battle of the Belts. I made a mistake on this one tonight, unfortunately. So anyway, here's some other ones. Gordon Soley and Stan Rhodes on here, and I don't even know who Stan Rhodes is. The good news is we didn't have to listen to Mike Rams on commentary this time on Battle of the Belts, Schiff.
Yeah, thank goodness. He was horrible. Just worried about getting himself over.
Well, so is Stan Rhodes, by the way. He's terrible. All right, so
Dusty's first cousin.
Yes. So the first match, on this show, Tyree Pride defeats the Cuban Assassin with 15 minutes. Luckily, on this watch, the match was joined in progress and went 30 seconds. Tyree won with the roll up. I assume neither one of you want to comment on what was possibly an awful match that went 15 minutes.
Yeah, I'm good.
Nope.
Moving on. NWA Florida United. I did watch this whole show, by the way. NWA Florida United States Tag Team title. My first match is, why do we have a U.S. Tag Team title in Florida? The Fabulous Ones, Stan Lane and Steve Kern, defeated the Sheep Herders, and we love the Sheep Herders on this pod. The Fabulous Ones came out to NXS, which popped me because I'm an old man. The Sheep Herders are a pod favorite. It was a solid.
That sounds like an NXT tag team.
It does, NXS. Solid tag match. Lane and Kern pulled the switch and small package for the win. It was very house showish, so I'd probably say it was around 2 1/4. The next match, again, I don't understand this one. The NWA United States Junior Heavyweight title. Again, don't understand why Florida has a U.S. Junior Heavyweight champion in Florida. The Ninja, by the way, is the Great Muta. I believe you knew that, right, Schiff? Because we discussed that on a previous Battle of the Belts, or did you forget?
Yeah, we saw him. Yeah, we saw him, and I remembered.
Okay, so he takes on Tim Horner. This is an 11-minute match. We will also see Tim Horner come to Crockett very soon as well. So you will be watching some Tim Horner. This is a solid match between the both. It was about 2.5 or so. The Ninja won with a moonsault. Both were pretty good in this match. However, Horner would later have to give the belt back because Kendo Nagasaki interfered and they reversed the decision. So no junior heavyweight U.S. champion for the White Ninja. Tim Horner ends up retaining. Here's a real kicker. AWA World Heavyweight title match on the show. Nick Bockwinkel defeated Kendo Nagasaki by DQ in 7 minutes. You both know I love Nick Bockwinkel, but both these men looked 80 in this match. Kendo Nagasaki had the really bad Tom Petty hair. It was supposed to be Martel, but he couldn't be in the match, and the announcer sounded so bored at the end. This was very in the 1970s, and both of you would have absolutely hated this match, so I'm glad I did not make you watch this. The next match was for the NWA.
Better than having Martel in it.
Okay, go fuck yourself. The next match, the NWA. You only hate You hate noted hater of Rick Martel in Japan matches. Logan Crossland. NWA Florida Bahamian title. I can't even say the word Bahamian.
There you go. Bahamian. There you go.
The NWA Florida Bahamian title match. Kendall Wyndham defeated Chris Champion by DQ in 4 minutes. So Champion, we will see again later down the road as part of a tag team that lasted for a little while, which was one of my favorites. I can't wait to talk about that. And Kendall will also see down the line eventually. Nothing makes me think Bahamas like a 140-pound Kendall Wyndham guy. You.
Yeah, that sounds about right. I feel like they just unnecessarily throw Florida into all of these title belts because doesn't the NWA Florida United States the tag team titles, doesn't that kind of contradict itself? Shouldn't it just be the United States tag team titles?
Well, we're going to talk about
it. Should just be
Florida
tag team titles.
Well, it should just be the Florida tag team title and Florida junior heavyweight title. We're going to talk about that later because we actually have a U.S. tag team title tournament for Crockett, but there's an NWA Florida. I mean, listen. Why does Florida have this many fucking belts to begin with? I mean, there's already a ton of belts at Crockett. Why does Florida need this many belts? Anyway.
And I feel like the Bahamian title should just be the Bahamian title, so I don't know.
Well, anyway, this match happened. Champion won by DQ, and we'll go from there. And the last match before the ones we talked about, they do have a Florida heavyweight title, and it was Ron Bass versus Barry Windham. The time ran out, but Barry won the belt that night to send fans happy, and we will talk a hell of a lot more Barry Windham on our next episode, because on our next episode, is it our next episode or the episode after that? Anyway, he becomes a regular fixture on Crockett, and he has a lot of great banger matches we'll talk about, but this should not be one of them. But so your new Florida heavyweight champion is Barry Windham, which leads us to
Ron Bass didn't have a banger.
Ron Bass, not a banger. Anyway, so the first match we'll talk about in detail for us for Battle of the Belts is the Road Warriors taking on the shock troops of Ed Ganter and Kareem Muhammad, and they were with Sir Oliver Humperdinck. This match goes 6.5 minutes, so all right. Anyway, so I will tell you, on the previous Battle of the Belts, the Road Warriors had some really, really great bangers. One of those matches they took on, I believe it was Stan Hansen and Harley Race, and that was a really, really fun brawl. But this one, oh my God. The crowd goes crazy for the Road Warriors. The Warriors have had all-out brawls, and all of them, and I've liked them on these shows. Hawk goes outside with Gantner. Animal drop kicks to huge Kareem outside. Kareem and Animal collide inside to a standstill in the ring. Hawk and Gantner stiff-ass clothesline each other. Heels work over Animal with some really terrible offense. They look very, very green. Although Kareem is supposedly a veteran. All four in the ring. Gordon calls it a rough, raw beef in ring. Animal kills the ref with a clothesline. A bunch of wrestlers come out. Chaos ensues. The brawl wasn't even that good. Too much wrestling, actually. Should have just let him go at it like the Road Warriors in previous Battle of the Belts matches. Also, my other question is, why do the Road Warriors have to go to a double DQ with these two? So here's what happens later on. Kareem would go on to beat Barry Windham for the Florida title later in the year before Windham goes to Crockett permanently.
Close it down. Just close it down.
Yeah. By the way, Gantner would also get a Florida title run, but he retired in 1987 for health issues due to steroid abuse. And he had a very sad ending. He had a lot of mental issues as well, and he committed suicide in 1990. And Kareem died of a heart attack in the mid-90s. This match was fucking awful. I couldn't even barely go half a star on this. Schiff, I'll let you. What did you think of this absolute shit show?
This match sucks.
So bad.
Like I have a note that says basic match. Why isn't the Road Warriors destroying these people?
Exactly.
What was impressive was Animal slammed the 400-pound guy, which, even though you said their names, I don't care enough to remember them. It was just basic power stuff, but no flow to the match. And like hot tag to Hawk, and he drilled the big guy with the forearm. Hawk was just beating everyone's ass. And then all four fighting, ref gets thrown down by everyone. More refs come in, they get beaten down. Wrestlers come in to break the match. I gave it a quarter of a star, and it's literally just for Animal slamming the 400-pound guy and Hawk hitting the guy with a forearm. So yeah, this was one of the worst matches we've had to watch for this podcast, Shawn. And as you guys can tell, I started off so hot, and then it's like this. I just take a break after watching this match, and it was just 6 minutes, but it felt like 60 minutes.
So Schiff, no comment on their opponents, one dying from a suicide and one from a heart attack not long after this. No comment there?
Nope. Just RIP. Sorry to hear about their loss.
Wow. Schiff being on his best behavior, Logan. So, Logan, what did you think of this match?
God. No, it was pretty terrible. I'm going to go half star for the literal purpose of I laughed my ass off when the 500-pound African-American man went ass over tea kettle over the top rope. So that made me laugh real hard. I thought this match would be a squash, so I just put Warriors versus Jobbers. So I didn't even write the team name, kind of like Schiff said. This was a lot more competitive than I would have expected or liked it to be for the Road Warriors. I'd like to just see the Road Warriors kill guys in the ring. So it kind of made it worse for that reason. And they didn't look comfortable selling. And plus the double DQ made it even worse on top of that. So yeah, I'll go half star for the over the top rope bump by the 500-pound African American man.
All right, yeah, Kareem Muhammad,
Kareem, there you go. Sorry,
died of a heart attack in the mid-90s.
Mm-hmm. Not shocking, because he was a gigantic individual.
Not shocking. And by the way, Ed Ganter, his nickname was Ed the Bull Gantner, by the way. And unfortunately...
Sounds like a serial killer name, Ed Ganter.
Well, anyway, rest in peace to both those gentlemen, and rest in peace to Road Warrior Hawk.
And Animal.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Animal passed away too, didn't he?
All dead.
Yeah, all dead. Rest in peace. Do not hold him accountable to this match. Go watch something better. All right.
So
match
Ed
Sorry, go ahead.
Ganger reminded me of Ed Kemper with the name, who was the serial killer that we saw in. He was the co-ed killer. If you guys watched Mindhunters.
Okay, moving on. Match number 6. I love you, Schiff.
Oh, sorry. Serious pod. I can't laugh.
Serious pod, Schiff.
I apologize, Rick. Sorry.
All right. So our 6th match of the night we're going to watch tonight is, so Logan, I believe when we covered June of '86, you were on when we were talking about the feud between Luger and Flair, right? Or the start up to this?
A couple interviews and stuff. Yeah, I think so.
And they had a match and they had a schmoz, which all came to this. So tonight, Lex Luger, who has only been wrestling, I think, literally since the beginning of this year, we get a 2 out of 3 falls match, the main event on TV tonight. It is Lex Luger versus Ric Flair. And this is kind of a big payoff. Like I said, the 3 of us covered this, I believe, back in June of '86 when we did this. 10 months ago, we talked about this. So this is a rematch. So Luger's out in his white wife beater and his he's out to back in black. He is the current Southern Heavyweight Champion. So yet another freaking title belt here in Florida. This is 2 out of 3 falls, 20-minute time period. So I was a little confused by how that whole dynamic worked. So that was a little strange. So Flair out to the most non-Flair music ever, which is a song called Dance Champion by Kool and the Gang. So I don't know what it is. Every time he did the Battle of the Belts, Flair always came out to this weird-ass music. So they shake hands. Luger dominates early with his strength and no sells Flair chopping forearms. Luger does 2 press slams. First one he did, but first one he did it by the tights, but he did it right the second time. Flair has had enough and then punches him in the balls as he comes off the ropes, which made me laugh out loud, literally. Luger is down for a bit. He comes back but misses a charge and hurts his knee in the corner. Flair gets a back suplex and works the leg. Flair is showing his strength, lifting Luger up a few times, which I thought was pretty impressive. He does a figure 4. Flair grabs the ropes, and we get the lamest 3 count in a figure 4 you will ever see to win the first fall. So the first fall goes to Flair and was really, really lame, I thought, in how he did it. So anyway, fall 2, Gordon also caused the lame pinfall, a good move by Luger to tap out to preserve the match in his career. Flair is right back to the leg, work on Luger. Flair misses a butt drop to the leg while it's draped on the top rope as Luger moves out of it. Luger hits a clothesline to Flair's chest out of the corner, power slam, and Luger gets 3 for fall number 2. And again, this is kind of the second time where I thought the fall was kind of lame. And again, this is kind of a big pinfall. This is Luger's first year in wrestling, and he actually has a pinfall over the world champion Ric Flair. So Flair really making it here. Even though, again, the first 2 falls I thought were pretty lame. So fall number 3, Luger gets a bear hug on Flair when he jumps from top rope. Flair in control later but misses a knee, and Luger rams Flair knee to the ring post. Flair with a sleeper inside. Luger runs him into the corner to escape. Luger with a sleeper press slam. Flair gets a back suplex. Luger knocks Flair down. Really great back and forth action between the two. Flair sends Luger outside. Lex throws Flair into post, and Flair is busted open. Luger does a press slams him into the ring and punches a cut. Flair fights back in a figure 4 again using the ropes, but Luger reverses it, and Luger gets a power slam for 2 with 30 seconds to go. There's a bear hug, and the time limit expires. The crowd is furious, so 2 falls each and 1 draw. Flair retains. That last fall was fucking lit. The crowd chants bullshit loudly. This was pretty great. I hated the first 2 actual falls and what they were, but the third fall match itself, for me, the third fall was 4 stars. The other 2, but all in, I went 3.5, and we will see Luger again also very, very soon. So, Schiff, I will go to you first. What did you think? I really like this overall. Third fall was...
Yeah, I agree with you. Oh, yeah, definitely. What you can see from the very beginning is Flair and Luger have great chemistry, which we'll see later on in this watch, like towards the end.
And by the way, this match is also the match that made Flair want Luger to join the Horsemen. I need to add that. This match right here did that for him. So go ahead. Sorry.
I will say Luger looks so young here. Like he just looks like a baby. He hits the press slam on Flair going in before we get the first fall. But I love that Luger missed a knee in the turnbuckle and Flair immediately starts to work the leg, which I thought was very smart. And you got the figure 4, and then you got the 3 count in the figure 4. And I loved after like the first fall, like Flair was still working the leg. He tried to get a knee drop, but like Luger moved over, and Luger got the power slam out of nowhere. I like that a lot. And then actually see Luger working Flair's leg, and which I thought was nice. And Luger actually busted out a sunset flip, which I think is the first and only time I've seen Luger do that. So, and you can tell by this point both men are just exhausted. And but there was a point where Luger hit a press slam and he feels like he's about to win, and he showboated a little bit, and I think that obviously cost him the match. And Luger slammed Flair back in the ring and actually got just a 1 count, which I was shocked for. And then we got the time limit draw, and actually a bullshit chant was heard at the end of this by me, and I went 3 3/4 for this. I was really enjoying all this.
Yeah, I went 3.5. You're 3 3/4 again, Logan. I thought the third fall was really, really, really good. Probably the best out of all 3. So what did you think?
Yeah, the third fall was absolutely the best fall. It was a bit slow at points in those first couple, so I get where you're coming from. I went 3 3/4 like Schiff did. Like I said, the match starts out kind of slow. Flair trying to kind of outwit Luger while Luger overpowers him. Things kind of start to pick up when Luger just kind of starts flamming Flair around, and then Flair starts working the leg. I kind of like that he actually got the 3 count in the figure 4. It is kind of lame, but they count on that a lot of the times that they don't actually get it. So I kind of like that we saw that somebody actually went down to the 3 count on the figure 4. The sit down splash that Flair did that he missed, it had to hurt the hell out of his ass because he landed just ass first straight on the mat. I felt like that had to just reverberate through his body and just feel awful. I thought this power slam to end fall 2 was awesome. But yeah, this is just an absolute war. The 2 guys beat the crap out of each other. Was slow at points, but overall was great. I hate time limit draws. Probably would have gone higher if it wasn't that. But I understand the necessity at this point. But yeah, 3 3/4, loved it.
Yeah, the 20-minute time period draw thing. I mean, it was just very, very. I mean, the match total time was 31 minutes and 18 seconds. So that whole time limit draw thing was really, really weird. So
yeah, I just don't like them in general. But I get why they were necessary in some of these situations.
Yeah, but I mean, again, for Luger being in his first year, I mean, it's
absolutely
just insane how good this match was. So yeah, this would be one that I would say, along with the best of 7, that first one we talked about, I would say go watch this one. This one was really, really good. Battle of the Belts. Probably the only match on that Battle of the Belts show that I would actually go out of my way to watch, to be honest with you. All right, so we will go back to that's Battle of the Belts 3. So now we will go to September 9th, and we are going to the syndicated shows back on Crockett. And once again, we have another title match, and it is for the World TV title. So Dusty Rhodes did not win the world title back from Ric Flair on the match we talked about. So he is now going to challenge Arn Anderson for the TV title. So Arn has held the title since January, where he won it in the tournament. And if you remember, he won it in a tournament when Dusty was stripped because Dusty couldn't defend it because the horseman had attacked his leg. So this is a big match here. And by the way, Schiff, the return of Trucker Hat Arn. We haven't seen Arn in his trucker hat in a long time, by the way.
Yeah, it's
the best guy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It
so
really
Logan,
is.
I don't know. Have you ever been privy to trucker hat Arn?
I think I've seen it a time or two. So yeah, I mean, Arn's awesome. Arn's could wear honestly anything, and he would look awesome in it. A fedora, a trucker hat.
The fedora. I love the fedora Arn and trucker hat Arn. We don't get to see it enough. So anyway, Johnny Weaver does a really great job of telling the story of these two and the history. So we don't talk about Johnny Weaver a whole lot on this show, but normally it's Crockett, and normally it's normally it's Tony, but I think Johnny Weaver really does a really good job here just telling the story of their history. Dusty does a lot of taunting and false elbow poses, and crowd loves it. Dusty does spinning punch to Arn on a sunset flip attempt. Arn works the arm, does some nice knees to the side and an arm, and then goes to the leg, pulling the tape off of it and rubbing his elbows into it. I freaking love Arn limb work. Dusty escapes a spinning toe hold with a pretty weak punch to Arn's leg. Dusty goes for a figure 4, but Arn's previous leg work causes him pain on the twist, and he collapsed. And again, I love the sell of this. Arn goes right back to the working leg, but he escapes and throws Arn outside. He goes to drop a knee to Arn outside, and Arn moves at Dusty's knee, hits the freaking wood, which looked absolutely hurt like hell. Arn attacks the leg and throws Dusty back into the ring, but Dusty up and beats Arn when he rolls in with punches, but Arn kicks the leg. Arn up by the ropes, sleep off, but clothesline by Dusty. Dusty throws Arn into the ropes, but he collides with Ref, who falls out of the ring. And by the way, it is not Tommy Rung. It is actually a Hebner this time that falls out of the ring, and not Young. And as Arn falls, he literally sweeps Dusty's legs, which was really fucking smooth, and Dusty falls. So I love that spot. Arn grabs a chair, and he goes to smack the leg, but Dusty moves. Dusty's up, and a DDT to the chair, the ref in, and we get a 3. And Dusty Rhodes is the new World TV Champion to a crazy crowd reaction. The Midnight Express run in to check on Arn, which I thought was weird because there's no Horseman. Post-match, Dusty conducts an interview about everything has been taken away from him, but you can't take his heart. He calls out the rest of the Horsemen. He says he's coming for them, and Baby Doll knows where she can kiss him. I really love the limb work and the selling in this. A lot of little things that made this match really, really good for me. I went 3 1/4 in this. I really, really enjoyed this match. Logan, what did you think?
Yeah, I went 3 on it. I kind of expected it to be a little bit better than it was. It was a lot of limb work, and it kind of bored me at points. But
it's Arn Anderson limb work in '86, and I have a soft spot in my heart for that in this time frame. So
yeah. If it was anybody else, I probably would have gone much lower. But I do think that this was a perfect matchup of guys. Dusty throws great punches and stuff like that, and Arn sells them better than pretty much anybody in the business. But yeah, I went a little lower than you at 3, but I was just a little bit disappointed in it. Kind of wanted a little bit more action, and it was a lot of limb work. But yeah, like you said, Arn is one of the best at doing that. So still pretty good.
Yeah. So yet another title change. And by the way, by the time we get to the end of every title at this point in Crockett has changed since the end of the Bash. Now every single title has changed. Every single one. And we're going to talk about a new title that's created too here in a minute. Schiff, what did you think of this match?
I really enjoyed this match. I went 3.5 on it. I love that Dusty, like Arn working over Dusty's leg, and then Dusty tried to figure 4, but couldn't hold it. I really enjoyed that. And Arn's working the leg and screaming, ask him. And like how you said, Shawn, when when Arn just kicked Dusty in the leg and he just like drops like a sack of potatoes, it's just great selling. And Dusty actually, Dusty hit a nice clothesline on Arn, who was coming off the top rope, which I really liked. And then Arn missing the chair. No one can hit a chair shot in '86 Crockett, apparently. Mm-hmm. And I love how Dusty DDT'd Arn on the chair, and Dusty got the win. And it was a hot match. Do I think Dusty needs a TV title? No, I don't, but that's a case for another day.
Yeah, so, but that also, so as we talked about earlier, Tully lost his national title. Dusty's now the TV champion, so you probably know where this is headed, and we'll talk more about that feud as we go along here. All right, so moving on. So again, like I said, we have all new champions now. We have hit the reset on the champions, but we are not done. So on September the 28th, 1986, there was a tournament for the NWA US Tag Team Championship. And this tournament was announced earlier in the month of September. And Schiff, you will remember this, way back in January, we had the national tag team titles. They had to be vacated because Dusty Rhodes took out Ole Anderson. And they retired the national tag team titles. And they have rechristened them the U.S. Tag Team titles. Do you remember that when we retired them?
Vaguely, but yeah, okay. It's just too many titles. Like, what are we doing? So
anyway, now we have the NWA U.S. Tag Team titles. By the way, one of my favorite looking titles because they're really, really different. As I stare at it on my shelf right now, it is one of my favorite looking ones. Kind of like it's a red belt, really cool USA on it. So it's one of my favorite all-time looking championship belts. It's really unique. So anyway, so here is who was in the tournament. These all took place at the Omni in Atlanta on September 28, 1986, and here was the tournament. So it had Ivan Koloff and Crusher Khrushchev. They defeated Tim Horner and Nelson Royal. Great team there. Tully Blanchard and Jimmy Garvin defeated Jimmy Valiant and Manny Fernandez. Tully Blanchard and Jimmy Garvin were a tag team. Dick Murdoch and Ron Garvin fought the Midnight Express to a 20-minute draw, so they were both eliminated. Dusty Rhodes and Magnum TA defeated Baron Von Raschke and Shaska Watley. Dutch Mantell and Bobby Jaggers, who were a team called the Kansas Jayhawks, defeated Bill Dundee and Buddy Landell. In the semifinals, it was Ivan Koloff and Crusher Khrushchev defeated Dusty Rhodes and Magnum TA by disqualification. The Kansas Jayhawks defeated Tully Blanchard and Jimmy Garvin, so big win there for them. And in the finals, Ivan Koloff and Crusher Khrushchev became the new United States Tag Team Champions, the first ever, when they defeated Dutch Mantel and Bobby Jack for the titles. Koloff pinned Mantel after Khrushchev struck Mantel in the back with the Russian chain. And then NWA US Champion Nikita Khrushchev and the chain. So, Logan, any thoughts on the Russians being the new U.S. Tag Team? So all three Russians now hold all the U.S. belts. Any thoughts?
Yeah, I feel like Dutch Mantel, being the American nationalist that he is, was quite pissed that all the Russians had the U.S. titles. So I imagine he was quite pissed at that one. But that makes sense. All the Russians have the U.S. belts,
especially in 1980, especially in 1986. By the way.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, no bigger heat there than giving the Russians all your U.S. titles. It's amazing. Mm-hmm. Schiff, any thought here on this?
Yeah, Kansas Jayhawks is a horrible name. I know that's the name of their college team, but it doesn't work as a tag team unless they come out dressed like the basketball team in basketball shorts.
No, they come out in black singlet tights with a bull with a what is it? A bullwhip. They have bullwhips with cowboy hats.
I was like, what does it have to do with the Jayhawk?
With cowboy. Well, they're cowboys. It's cowboys. Cowboy hats.
A Jayhawk's a bird, though.
I don't know what the fuck they're calling themselves Jayhawks for then. But they're cowboys. And by the way, Bobby Jaggers has probably been in one of the worst matches we've ever watched on this podcast history. By the way, I don't know if you remember that one.
Yeah, he was really bad.
Yeah, really bad.
Really bad.
Really
bad. Is he mixed, brother?
No, he's not. Not even close.
And he doesn't have the moves either.
No, he's rather portly, by the way. He was in Portland. He's a big guy. Was in Portland wrestling, and we watched a match with him. That was just.
I got it. I was just messing around.
So awful. So we will actually. I don't think we ever really actually watch a match with the Kansas Jayhawks, because the next match that they're in, I think that would even be near us. What we would talk about would be Starrcade '86, and I don't even think we have that match that we talk about in that show. But they have a rematch with the Russians for the U.S. Tag Team titles in that show. So we will talk about them later, but they're not around very long. So anyway, your new U.S. Tag Team Champions, Ivan Koloff and Khrushchev Khrushchev, and all the Russians hold all the belts. Which leads me to our next match, which happened on the same card the same night. So the national heavyweight champion, Wahoo McDaniel, had beaten Tully Blanchard for the national title earlier in the month in L.A. So on the course of the Saturday night shows leading up to the night, there was a big thing between Wahoo McDaniel and Nikita Koloff, and Nikita wanted to. There was a big squabble around. Well, they want to unify the matches. So Crockett set up a unified title match for the national title and the U.S. title, and this is their way of getting rid of the national title, which needed to go because you didn't need a national champion and a U.S. champion. And Wahoo thought the national title was more important than the U.S. title. And Nikita thought the U.S. title, and it was a big debate over who was the number one contender. Just unify the belts, and you can take one belt out of the game, and this is where we're at. Unfortunately, Wahoo McDaniel is the one that has the belt. So obviously they didn't want to do Nikita versus Wahoo or Nikita versus Tully, so we get Wahoo versus Nikita. So here we are. Ivan's out with Nikita. I have no idea who these freaking announcers are on this match. I've never heard of either one of them. There's a ridiculous test of strength tie-up that Wahoo gets the best of, sending Nikita outside. Nikita asked for another one, and Wahoo chopped him right outside the ring. I actually did laugh at that. From there, the bulk of the match is boring headlocks by both. There's a few bear hugs on Wahoo. Wahoo slides his arm between them and reverses the bear hug. Wahoo lights Nikita up with chops and a suplex, and then more chops. On a crisscross, Nikita drops down, and Wahoo stops himself, turns to chop Nikita, who moves, and Wahoo chops Tommy Young out of the ring with Schiff. I assume you appreciated that at least, right?
It was like one of the few things I enjoyed about this match.
Okay. Wahoo beats up Nikita some more. He goes to get the ref. He gets him out on the apron, but Nikita does a sickle from behind, and there's a 3, and Nikita now has unified the titles. There's just one U.S. champion, and there's Nikita Koloff. Definitely a slow parts with these two, as I expected, especially in the middle. But I thought the lead up to the finish was creative, and I don't give a fuck. I'll watch Wahoo chop fuckers all day long. I gave it a gentleman's 2. Logan, I'll go to you first. What'd you think?
Yeah, I went 1.5. Lots of stalling at the beginning of this one. It was very hard hitting, and a lot of it was very heavy submission based as well. But this one was a bit more plotting and boring than a lot of the other matches. I think I kind of compared it too much to the other matches because I probably would have gone Gentleman's too like you did.
I mean, let's be honest. Wahoo McDaniel has no business holding the major title this late in the game in '86.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And I think Wahoo just bores me in general. But it was very hard-hitting, and I do like to see that a lot. But, it was just real plotting and boring compared to the other matches. And that's probably unfair to this match, but, yeah, that's how I feel. 1.5.
Yeah, Schiff, I'm sorry. I am a huge mark for Wahoo Chops, but that's about all I'm going to mark for at this point for him. But what did you think?
I went half star. This shit sucked.
Oh,
there's no other way around it.
That wasn't that bad.
Here's my notes. Test of strength to start out. Another one, but Wahoo punches Nikita. Now headlock of doom. Nikita now choking Wahoo. Now bear hug. They say force the Indian to submit. You can't say that today. Match has like negative heat. Another bear hug. Just basic strikes. Ref down and Wahoo gets ping. I don't even know what the hell that means. Nikita hits Wahoo and we get the pin. Half a star.
So playing the role of Colin McDougal tonight is Scott Shiflett. That's what I heard.
And it sucks because like most of these all these matches but two were amazing. And like it like I've lost the will to live momentarily. Or at least continue watching 1986 Crockett.
Well, I'm glad we could close it on a good note for you tonight. So, guys, that's all our matches. So, literally, we covered August through September. And the real story is here as we get ready to. So, the next month on the pod, we are going to cover all things October, November that lead to Starrcade 86. So, we'll cover quite a wide range on our next episode. But all the titles have changed. The national title is gone. We have added the U.S. tag team title. So, we got rid of one title. We've added a tag team title. Too many titles, but it all sets up nicely as we head into the build to Starrcade 86. So I'm not going to do awards anymore on this show because it's more about telling the timeline, the stories of what's going on. But I will we'll talk about what we thought our best and worst matches were and then our overall thoughts. So best match for me was the first Magnum versus Nikita, followed closely by Luger versus Flair. Schiff, how about you?
Going by star ratings, it is the Magnum and Nikita, and then it's the Rock and Roll Express versus Midnight Express.
Interesting. Logan, what about you?
Yeah, definitely the first Magnum and Nikita match, number 6 out of the best of 7.
Okay, and then
yes, game 6, yes.
Okay, and then on the overall thoughts. So for me, overall, it's just an interesting watch. I think, the best of 7 wrap up was great. All the all the freaking title changes are really, really interesting. The Flair versus Luger thing from Florida is outstanding. It's just odd that they did all this like out of the bash, like just some weird booking, but overall, really, really solid watch. And it has me excited for the build of Starrcade because that's really what this is at this point. It's like, hey, we're coming out of the bash. We're going to reset everything. And as we get into October, November, we're going to move towards Starrcade, and I feel like that's really it. So I thought this was a really good overall watch. Schiff, what'd you think?
Yeah, I would give this a 5 out of 5. 4.5 out of 5 because those two matches sucked, but yes.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not looking to rate it. I just think overall it's just a really good, solid thing of Crockett. I mean, I know you're going Danger Pod. You're like Danger Pod here. We're not in Danger Pod shit. It's just overall what you felt, how you felt about it. Okay?
Oh, well, it's great to be – I loved it.
All right, great. And Logan, what did you think overall?
Well, the rules of that award at the end of that pot is made up, and the numbers don't matter. So I'm just playing.
That is correct. That is at this point they sure don't.
No, but I thought this was a really strong episode. A lot of good matches, some crappy ones, but for the most part, I thought it was really strong. It is kind of weird that they do all these title changes out of the bash, but I think they know that like the bash is a big deal. A lot of fans go to that one. A lot of fans look forward to that one. And though they may have not gotten the title changes there, to get them and hook them back in as they head towards Starrcade, they do a bunch of title changes on TV. So you're like, come to our shows. You might see a title change because we just did a bunch right back to back here. So, and kind of like Schiff said earlier, maybe it was kind of a reset to figure out where they wanted to go next. And obviously, plans will change even further with the accident that we'll talk about in the next episode, obviously.
Yeah, so what leads me to our next episode. So again, we'll talk about October into November, and so the hot topics on the next one. So we'll cover a lot of the angles that lead to the major matches at Starrcade. So yes, unfortunately, we will talk about a Jimmy Valiant because there is a match between Valiant and Jones. And one thing I do promise you guys that you will appreciate on this reboot, we do not have a lot of Jimmy Valiant on this podcast, but
no Big Mama.
Take a start. We do have a very, very, very amusing one-time Big Mama appearance on our next podcast. You will not see Big Mama after that ever again. But there is a very funny video that it will be very humorous, but you have my word. So we'll talk about that. We will also talk about the first appearance of one ravishing Rick Rude coming to Crockett. So, Schiff, did you know that Rick Rude came in this early?
Yeah, I know that he eventually even becomes tag team champions with Manny Fernandez.
We will talk about that. We will talk about the Rock and Roll Express and Anderson's feud heating up now that Anderson's no longer TV champion. We will talk about Magnum TA's accident and what happened with that, and how Dusty booked on the fly and a major face turn that happened because of it. And I think everybody knows which one leads to the formation of the Superpowers. We also have a major feud that starts between the Road Warriors and the Midnight Express that leads to a legendary scaffold match. And Logan, great news for you. I believe you will be on the next episode. I believe Schiff, you will not be because you will be on vacation. We will have a match between the Funk Brothers and the Road Warriors from Japan that we will talk about, Logan.
Ooh, that sounds pretty good.
I hope that goes back to or goes better than our last trip across the pond. So
well, it is YouTube roulette favorite the Funks against the Road Warriors. So I'm going to cross my fingers. In 1986, that has the potential to be pretty fucking great. I hope.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that one for sure.
Yeah, Schiff, I'm sorry you'll miss that one, but I will send you the link so you can watch it because I would think you'd probably thoroughly enjoy that match. I would imagine.
Yes.
All right.
If it's them beating the hell out of each other, yes.
Yeah, well, I haven't watched it yet. I'm going to keep my fingers crossed and hope for the best. So, yeah, a lot of stuff to talk about on our next episode that'll lead to Starrcade. And then the episode after that, obviously, we'll talk about Starrcade 86. So, Scott and Logan, thank you for joining me tonight on the official reboot of episode number 55 here on Crock and Roll. The other thing I'll add, guys, on this is there is no set time frame for us to drop this pod. I know before we were on an every 2-week cadence. One of the things in us coming back is, you know what? When we have the time to watch, when we have the time to do it, we will record the pod. So there will be no official schedule to this. I do appreciate Scott, the Podfather, Criscolo, allowing us to record this pod and say, hey, when you're available to do it, let me know, and then dropping it when it drops. But we will definitely shill it on Twitter and on all our platforms. So more to come, but just happy to get this first official reboot out of the way. So before we go, Scott Shiflett, anything you would like to plug that you are doing besides this rebooted podcast?
Just check out everything on all 3 feeds, the pop feed, the wrestling feed, and the no-so feed. Just everyone's just doing great work. Yeah, glad to be back.
All right. Logan, how about you, since you are the cornerstone of PTPN pods at this point?
You said it, not me. We may have a episode of YouTube Roulette coming out somewhere in the near decade. So look out for that whenever it does come out. Chicken Salad and Starflation, I do that with Ben and Callum. We just recorded the anniversary show that Shawn joined us for. On Chicken Salad.
Which I actually had fun on. That was a very fun episode.
Yeah, you say that like it's shocking. I'm just kidding.
Well, I hadn't been on it. Well, you never know with that show, but it'd been a year, and I actually had a really good time. So. Yeah,
we watched Vengeance 05, so that was a lot of fun. We watched a good show for our anniversary, and then Highway to the Impact Zone. We are about to record the Sacrifice 2006 episode, so check that out. And then Who's Next with Andy Atherton is a current day NXT pod. So. Check all the feeds out and check all those shows out. Yeah, Logan on almost every podcast on every single feed at this point in time. Yeah. As for me, obviously this one when we can, I will just plug right now. Go listen if you have not listened to it or you don't know about it on the North South Connection. Schiff, Logan, and Matt Souza and Jacob Williams join me for the journey of the Dangerous Alliance, the 7 Months of Danger pod. When we put this show on the hiatus, I
I wanted to do a 23-part mini. Well, it ended up being a mini series, but it was a 23-part mini series we did on the entire run of the Dangerous Alliance. We started with the kind of a Halloween Havoc in '91 and ran it all the way to the end of Larry being kicked out. Really had a weird ending. It wasn't like the official ending of it was really, really bizarre, which we'll talk about on the last episode. We record that next week. But if you had not listened, that has just been I don't know what happened. It started out as kind of a project to be serious. And I think Schiff and Logan, you would probably agree, it's turned into one of the most batshit funniest podcasts I think I've ever done in the history of podcasts that I've ever done.
Yeah, I feel like it's enjoyable, but not for like wrestling purposes for some reason. I feel like the banter we have is really good, but it hasn't been the most exciting and the most enthralling action, and I just feel like the group itself just hasn't really wowed us like we all thought they may have. But yeah, real fun.
I will certainly say it's probably the most in-depth you'll ever get in that freaking podcast, in that group ever. You'll never get enough. Yeah. You'll never get anything more in-depth than you will in that podcast with that group ever. Mm-hmm. Schiff, how about you?
Yeah, it's a lot of fun watching a part that, like, I've only seen bits and pieces of. So it's, it's lost some people, but I'm still chugging along.
Yep. So I don't know when this is coming out. By the time you hear this, though, we will be recording the final 2 episodes. So by the time this comes out, the entire run of that show might be on North-South Connection. So we get a lot of good feedback on it. But go give it a listen. You'll enjoy it. I mean, there's never an episode longer than an hour and a half. But since it is 23 episodes, maybe you could just knock it out in, 36 hours if you want to and go from there. God damn, we spent 36 hours on that shit, guys. Think about that.
We've had a fan recently chug through them, so it is possible.
It is. And we watched over 120 matches of the Dangerous Alliance. So stick that in your pipe and
Jesus Christ.
Anyway, so with that, Scott and Logan, again, so happy to be back. Thank you guys for joining me on the relaunch of NWA Crock Roll. And don't have a time frame on when our next episode will drop, but I guarantee you we'll be back, and that will cover pretty much October through November on the build to Starrcade 86. And until then, thanks for listening, everyone, and we will see you when the next episode drops.